Hi everybody, it's Ms. Brody coming back to you with another lesson on fantasy writing. This lesson is about how setting matters. So let's just jump right in. Setting. The very first lesson I taught to you in the reading part of our fantasy unit was about the importance of setting to a fantasy story. And this is especially true if you've set your story in a fantasy world such as outer space or an enchanted forest or underwater or medieval times. But honestly, it's true for any setting. Excuse me. So your job as a writer is to help create that world for your reader. You want to make them see and feel where your story is taking place. Is it a safe or happy place? Is it scary and dark? You get to decide, but it is a decision you need to make as a writer, which means these are things that writers think about. It's not just random. You actually have to start thinking and making plans and have thoughts about what you want your story and setting to be like. So for example, look at these pictures of a forest. Since I know my story about Priscilla is being set in a forest, I have to decide sort of in my mind what type of picture I want to create in my reader's head. Do I want it to be this one in the top left, which is a little dark and I don't know, it's a little eerie. This one's really eerie, right? I mean, the trees almost seem like they're alive. And now I've got a perfectly happy, sunshiny forest down here and another one down here. So again, before you're starting to write, you really want to picture your setting, because if you can't picture it, then you're definitely not going to be able to create it for your reader to picture it. So make sure that you're thinking about what you want your setting to be like and to feel like, and create that for your reader. Well, how do we do that? How do we create the look and feel of our setting? Well, as you can see from the picture that on this slide, we're going to use our senses. You want to think about what it looks like, smells like, feels like, sounds like, and yes, taste is another one, but I'm not sure if we need to use that one, but who knows? Maybe your story would involve the taste of a setting. These are called sensory details, and they're very important to any type of narrative writing. It's one of those writer's craft techniques to use sensory details to make the writing come alive. And today I'm talking about it specifically with setting, but you really want to think about the sensory details in all of your writing. And here's a little reminder of the hook or the beginning that I created for my story of the sun shining brightly in the freckled forest. The leaves were a lovely shade of purple and the glossy tree trunks practically sparkled. I'm not going to keep reading, but if you remember, this just does a lot of describing of what the forest looks like. I describe the color of the trees, the color of the leaves, the color of the clouds. I do have a little bit about the ground being bouncy. But I remembered now that when I was writing this lesson, I thought, I don't really talk much about what it sounds like. And I thought that that would be, if I added that sensory detail to this hook, I could make it something that's sort of important. So here's something I added. Priscilla heard birds chirping. In fact, the birds seemed to be almost shouting. Priscilla soon realized the forest was so alive with animal sounds, her ears were beginning to ring. Now, I put that in there when I was thinking about it because, remember, there's something going on in the forest that Priscilla doesn't know about. And hopefully, if you've been listening to these videos, you know that there's a dragon in this forest along with Priscilla eating up and collecting pricklepus plants. So I want, by me writing this part about the birds chirping, they're not really chirping. They are kind of shouting because they're almost calling out in danger about the dragon, but Priscilla doesn't know it. All she knows is, wow, it's really loud in this forest. And I hadn't included that detail before. And by thinking about the sensory details, it really pushed me as a writer to add more and to think more about how I can make my story more interesting. Again, it doesn't just flow right out of you without any thought. Now that you're nearing middle school, you really want to be giving thought and thinking, how can I add some more craft? How can I layer in some important information in my story? And using sensory details and adding to your setting is one of those ways. I also want to remind you that every scene should have a setting, right? Think about your story mountain. Think about each of your themes. Think to yourself, has my story moved? Meaning, is it now in a different place? If so, be sure that your reader knows that your story has moved. And you want to start a new paragraph and show the reader where your story is. And you can use transitions to help. That's from yesterday's lesson. So look at these two very short sentences that just set up a little bit of setting. A few moments later, there's that transition. Priscilla was standing in front of an enormous tree at the start of the freckled forest. Well, I've used a time to say something's changing, and now I know where she is, freckled forest. Here's another example. As fast as her legs could carry her, Priscilla ran out of the forest, back to her home. So let's say I am at the end of my story and I want to have my final scene is going to take place at home, right? I want to get that across, so I've added my little transition to say that she's going quickly and that she's running out of the forest back to her home. It doesn't take a lot. I'm not talking about pages and pages or paragraphs and paragraphs to get these ideas across about where your story is taking place or where each scene is taking place. I want you to think back to my original hook, and I took something out, and I want you to see if you can figure it out. Priscilla, shouted Mrs. Leica, I need you. The time has come to forage for more pricklepus plants. Yes, Mama, said Priscilla excitedly. I'll go at once. Now, again, what's missing here? And if you said the setting, you're right? I took out the sentence that I had included that told me where this was taking place. This sentence, Priscilla quickly appeared by her mother's side in the family's small kitchen. You might not think that that's really important, but honestly, it makes the difference between having two characters just standing around and two characters now standing around in a kitchen. That one sentence helps establish the setting. And without it, I like to say that the characters are just sort of floating. They're just sort of somewhere, but we don't know where. Don't have your characters floating around, okay? And all it takes sometimes is one short little sentence to keep them on the ground in a specific spot, okay? Let's just review quickly what we've covered so far. Okay, we've covered hooks, using action, description, and dialogue, or a combination to start your story. But I also want to mention that those three things are things you can use to start each scene. It's not like, it's only in your beginning that you want to use action, description, or dialogue, right? You can start each scene that way. We've also talked about transitions and paragraphs, and that these are the things that help your reader follow the flow of the story. And they can even create suspense if you're using transitions like in a moment or suddenly. So think about, again, that you want to have those paragraphs. You want to be indenting every time a new person speaks. Remember PATS, PATS, place, action, time, speaker. And then finally, today's lesson was about setting, how we can use our senses and our sensory details to help the reader envision where your story takes place and what it looks and feels like. And if you do all of those three things up until now and you keep drafting, well, you're going to have your teacher look a little bit like that. What's that guy's name? I can't think. Not SpongeBob, but I can't think of his name. So again, keep writing. Your job is to keep drafting at least a half a page each day. Don't rush. Give what you're writing thought and care, right? Just like I showed you how with a little bit of thinking, I'm adding a few more specific details to make my story come alive. Keep going, and we can't wait to read what you're writing.